Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Glide Memorial Church celebration. We are so glad that you have decided to join your hearts to our hearts today. Thank you for letting us into your home or wherever you are watching and participating in this celebration. And we invite you into this sanctuary, both online and one day soon. We'll be back together as an online community and in-person community, but together. So welcome everybody to this very special Sunday celebration. Of course, it is AAPI Heritage and History Month. And we know that the violence that is and the terror that is being exacted upon the many AAPI communities, that's not the history. The history is longer and bigger than any of this. We know that, violence and the news of it breaks through all the other noise, and we're just finding out about it, but it has been happening for a while. So there's been a history of resilience and innovation and community that is bigger than this moment, but still we hold AAPI folks in all the ways that they show up. We call for an end to all of the violence so that the history can continue to come through. It is also the month where Ahmaud Arbery would have turned 27. It is also the month where we commemorate the life of George Floyd, who was killed a year ago. It is also the month of Memorial Day. So all the folks that we mourn, whether it is lost in military service or lost to COVID or lost from anything else, we hold in memory, we memorialize all those that we have lost. Last week was, of course, Mother's Day, and we still hold all the ways that universal mothering shows up in the Glide and in the world. It is also Mental Health Awareness Month, and we know that we have to bring an awareness to our mental health as much as we do our physical and our spiritual health. And we are thinking integratively here at Glide about how we can do that, particularly as we come out of this pandemic and into whatever this new normal is going to look like. We want to make sure that we continue to have mental health checks as well. And today, of course, the SF AIDS Walk is or was happening. And so we have a long and storied history here at Glide of participating in the struggle in HIV and in AIDS. And so we support all of the Pride team who formed a contingent of walkers for this virtual SF AIDS Walk. And we hope that a lot of money was raised, and we hope that there's some new hope on the horizon for cure and vaccine and continued services for folks who are impacted by the virus. There's so much going on in the world, and seemingly it can feel like it is all coming to get you or destroy you, but it is not. Everything is only here to tell you that these are the things that you have to go through so you can live into the fullest version of yourself. And we want you to know that whatever it is you're going through, that we will go through it with you. Brokenhearted, we'll go through it with you. Out of recovery, we'll go through it with you. Unemployed, we'll go through it with you. Housed, we'll go through it with you. Out of options, we'll go through it with you. And we know that there's a greater likelihood that we will get there to that fullest version of ourselves if we go through it together. So know that whatever it is, you are now a part of this community and never alone in your travels and in your journey. So know that whether or not you are masculated or unmasculated, Black or white, straight or gay, young or old, gender conforming or gender non-conforming, Dim, sim, or fem, you are all welcome here, and we will walk with you because we are family, and that's what we do. So on behalf of our CEO and President, Karen Hanrahan, our co-founders, the Reverend Cecil Williams, and San Francisco's former poet laureate, Janice Mirkatani, on behalf of our board of directors, our senior leadership, our amazing lay leadership, our amazing congregational life leadership, our amazing church office, our amazing congregation, and you, please know that you, our family and friends, new and old, are welcome here. And we open now the sacred ritual that we call celebration. And what we are going to sing and pray and preach today is in the expectation that it will reach you wherever you are and to help you celebrate whatever you need celebrating inside of you. If today is your first time visiting with us today, we would love for you to raise your hand in the chat, wave them, type some hearts, some exclamation marks. Let us know that you are here for the first time, and we will welcome you and make sure you know that you are not only welcome but expected here. So welcome. We're going to put a link in the chat also that will show you how to sign up for our Congregation Connects newsletter. And that way you will be able to know all of the things that are going on in the church. You can stay connected to us and we can stay connected to you. Our virtual prayer basket is now open. So that means that our chat has turned now into our prayer basket. So you can write down your prayers and put them in the chat right now. It's simple. If you need a prayer for yourself, just type the word me in the chat right now. Just me. You never had anybody pray for you? This is an easy way to get started. Just type me in the chat. You don't even have to put any more details than that. And we will call your name in the prayer circle on Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. If you need a prayer for a family member, a friend, your house, your block, your neighborhood, your city, your state, this country, if you have a prayer for this world, if you have a prayer for the environment or for any system of oppression, if you have a prayer that says you need somebody to come close or somebody to go far away, if you need a door opened or a door closed, all of it we can pray for. You just name it and put it in the chat. But if you don't feel like putting it in the chat, if you want to send a prayer to us privately, you can also do that. There's a link in the chat on how to submit a prayer online and also how to email it to us or use the phone to call it into us. But we take all the prayers and we add them all to the prayer basket, and we will pray for them on Wednesday evenings. I'd like to add to the prayer basket today our guest speaker, teacher, preacher for the day, Rod Penalosa. We pray that the word that comes forth out of his mouth will be a blessing for this community. And we ask that you begin to list your prayers and your needs for what it means to be an online congregation member or what it means to be thinking about being an in-person congregation member. What will it mean for us, for all of us? So we love your prayers for what you think it will look like. Let's go ahead and pray. And you are invited to pray in your sacred tradition, your mindful tradition, your meditative tradition, and that is hands open, hands clasped. If it is kneel down, if it's on a mat, if it is a walk, if it is to think about your Orisha or your ancestors, if it is about being at the ocean or being in community, whatever is your sacred and your divine and your centering place, we ask that you go there right now and you bring it here to this celebration. And we are grateful for the ways that that you have shown up here today. We pray that anyone who was experiencing any anxiety around this pandemic and coming out of it and coming back into physical proximity to community, that we know that love has been reshaped and we are now a part of something new and exciting, and really get to decide what beloved community will look like for these times that we're in now. I pray that everyone, however they need to be connected, whether virtually or in person, that they know that it is all real today, that the church has met technology where it is, and we know that a part of our future will be a part of technology, but we also know that analog continues to be a part of it. So know that wherever you're going to fit in this future, that we are planning on embracing you exactly where you are. And we pray a particular blessing for all of our seniors in our community, that they know that they are seen and held and heard and are of vital importance to this community. And for those of you who are seeking community, do not quite know what this faith thing is yet. This faith thing is that you know and you begin to feel throughout this celebration that it matters not that you understand why you are here, but that you were called here and led here, and that you are going to be embraced here from wherever you are. And we want you to be a part of this community, this beloved community who will welcome you in exactly as you are. You don't have to clean yourself up. You just have to come in and be the beneficiary of decades of unconditional love in this place. We hope by the end of this celebration that you will know without a doubt that everything that we have used in service of you knowing that you are ours and we are yours. Amen. Hallelujah. Right on. Shalom, salam, namaste, and ashe. And now, please join your heart and your voices with our hearts and our voices as we sing our community song.
Amen. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching, walking Amen. My name is Vernon Bush, and welcome to our celebration. I hope you were singing along. That song is for the AIDS walkers who are walking today, or at least raising money today in awareness. I just want to give a shout out to them. We do a lot here at Glide for that awareness, and I just love that we are able to sing about what we do. So, as we do in every celebration, we have our community embrace where we reach out across the aisle and we introduce ourselves and we say good morning to each other. And we're going to take a moment right now to do just that. So, whoever is in your vicinity, if they're in the chat, go type their names on the chat and say hello, or just reach out while you're watching this, and we'll do our community embrace right now. Music is such a energy giver. We hear music all the time, all around us. Sometimes we don't even hear that it's being played in the background, and we're wondering, what's lifting my spirit? Well, sometimes it's that music. You know, here at Glide, it's a soundtrack for us. We love to hear it. And, this morning we have some really great music. And I just want you to just stay tuned and listen and take it in and get your groove on, get your praise on. Whatever you do on a Sunday morning, this is a happy celebration, and we want to celebrate with you. Come on, take this music in, and here we go.
So I wouldn't let go. You pressed your way in the midst of the crowd, came in anyway, even though you weren't allowed. No, no, no. And I can hear you say within yourself, if I can just touch Jesus, I don't need a touch from nobody else. It's your time for your miracle. So don't you be discouraged. Don't you be dismayed. For you've not been denied. Oh no, it's only been delayed. It seems it may not be your turn in life, but don't you get discouraged. Stay in the light. It's your time. Oh, for the miracle. Your miracle will come. Your miracle in a moment. You gotta believe that He can do it. He will do it. Your faith will move you to it. Faith will move Him to do it. Just touch. Just touch the hem of His garment. Your miracle will come. Your miracle in a moment. If you have the faith the size of a mustard seed, your faith will move you to it. It's yours. And it's all in your faith. You gotta reach out, grab a hold, and don't let go. You gotta know that He loves you. He wants you, and He's doing it. It's yours. It's all
under the direction of Vernon Bush. I want to share some announcements with you right now. I will be brief, do not worry. The San Francisco AIDS Walk is today, and we have a contingent from the Glide Pride team walking in this virtual San Francisco AIDS Walk, and also the Glide Ensemble, members of the Glide Ensemble are also singing to entertain the walkers today. We hope that there's a lot of money that will be raised on behalf of all of the organizations that are doing the work in the HIV and AIDS struggle. Glide has a storied and long history of participating in the struggle for support and resources for HIV positive folks and for folks who have AIDS, and also all of the support work that happens around it. So we hope that you will both watch the AIDS Walk, but also give to the AIDS Walk. And both ways that you can participate are in the chat right now. If today is your birthday or whatever it is that you're celebrating, someone earlier said they were in their 9th year of recovery. If you have a recovery anniversary or whatever it is that you are celebrating, know that we want to celebrate you and celebrate with you. So let us know what you are commemorating, celebrating, or observing today, so that we can be a part of that celebration with you. Don't forget, you can watch us on YouTube, on Facebook Live. Also, you can find us on the Glide Church webpage. You can listen to us on Podomatic if you listen to podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcast, you can find Glide Memorial Church Celebration. Or if you are not on a computer or not on a smart device, you can use your phone. You can call into our call-in service, select 1, subscribe, and we will call you, or the service will call you every Sunday morning right before celebration. All you have to do is pick up your phone and listen to Sunday Celebration. It's that easy. Also, if you want to participate in any of our congregational life offerings, and we have many, everything from yoga to meditation to our white anti-racist group to Speak Out, our community open mic, to keeping it real, our recovery group for everything that you might be in recovery from. All of that happens as a part of our congregational life group. And so we hope that you will join us in one of them. And you can find out all the information you need about our congregational life groups by visiting our congregational life page on our church website. So that link also is in the chat as well. That's it. If you need any of these announcements, don't worry. You didn't have to write them down because they are on our website, glide.org/church announcements. They're there and they're updated. Thank you all so much for participating in this Sunday celebration. It's our witness time right now. And so we have a very special throwback witness from Michelle Arce.
So a little about me. I grew up in Southern California with Catholic parents and a very strict dad who insisted that he drive my mom and I to church every Sunday. He would drop us off and then pick us up. He had his own issues with the Catholic Church because the nuns used to hit him in school, so he just would, that's great for you two, I'll pick you up. And so he would do that. And I went through communion when I was 8, and basically at about age 12, as soon as he stopped making me go to Catholic church, I stopped going. And my mom is still very, very religious, very Catholic. She says the rosary every night. It just wasn't for me. And so I went through high school just with kind of a hole, searching for something. And went to college. A friend took me to First AME a few times. Loved it, loved the music, loved everything about it. Then moved up here after college, and it was in college when I started drinking alcoholically, and then when I got here, For anyone who is an addict, has been an addict, you'll know that it's a progressive disease, and it got worse. A friend took me to Glide for the first time about 18 years ago, and I instantly loved it. Excuse me. Fell in love with everything about this place. Just how out of the ordinary it was for me. There was a preacher, and there was a message, and there was music, but there was no one that I felt was pushing stuff down my throat, saying you have to believe this or you have to do this. It was just, we're about unconditional love, and whoever wants to come. We don't care who you are, what you've been through, just come. And I loved that. But for those few years before I got sober in 2008, I couldn't really be here. So I would come sporadically, and I would come with an ex-boyfriend who was then my boyfriend, and we would stop at the liquor store on the way. We would grab a little vodka. We would drink it on the way down, and we'd come and we'd sit over there, kind of towards the back. And you know what? No one ever looked at us funny. No one ever looked at us and said, "Oh, you guys stink. You just drank vodka. That's so disgusting. It's Sunday morning." There was no judgment ever. And the disease progressed. I finally was able to surrender to God and just say, I can't do this anymore. And I got sober in 2008. And thank you. That's when I finally realized, once I got this clarity thing, hey, you know what? I can actually join that choir that I've been wanting to join for so long. I could actually be here at Wednesday rehearsal and not be hungover. I can be at Sunday morning and not be hungover. I can do this. And that's, like Joan said, that's when I really felt like I started to get involved. And I joined the Pride team, and I volunteered, and I have co-led and led the AIDS Walk team, which is part of the Glide Pride team. The last couple of years I have not, and I'm taking it back on this year. So it's July 14th for any of you who don't know, and I would really love it if you guys would join us and walk with us on Sunday, July 14th. So please come and see me for any details if you're interested. The main thing I want to say is that, I think what it is that I've been searching for community my whole life, and coming here, that's what I found. I found community, I found love, I found more of a connection with God, and it doesn't matter that I'm not any certain religion. It doesn't matter who I pray to. It just matters that I'm here and that we are all in this together, and we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. This church is not perfect, and that's what's so beautiful about it. And being Cinco de Mayo, I just want to wrap it up with this for any of my Mexican brothers and sisters out there. I used to sing this song a while back, and I'm just going to sing a little snippet of it because I miss singing it. But it was the only Latin-sounding song that we sang. So I just want to end with, all around, everywhere I look, your love is all around, all around, all around. Everywhere I look, your love is all around. I'm Michelle R.C., and I am Glide.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for your story then and your story now. We appreciate the ways that you have shown up in this community, coming to Glide exactly where you were in that moment, even through the alcohol, knowing that there was a place for you. And that's for years of us, decades of us, being a place for unconditional love. And that meant that it lured you here. And that means that we continue both in the virtual and in the physical to lure people into Glide. People who don't know what they're expecting or why they're coming here, whether they hear the music or have heard about us. It's because that we keep doing this work. We keep creating a field where folks can come in and feel connected to community, can hear a word of encouragement, can know that they are loved exactly how they are in whatever they are in. And we will provide you with music, with words, with community, with prayer that will help you sort out your next step. And this is what we do so well. And if you understand this work that we do, we're going to ask you to give into this, because there will be more people coming. I believe post-pandemic, both online and in person, folks are going to begin to show up, and they won't know what has happened this past year. They will be wandering, they will feel lost, and we will be here to receive them. And we will pray them, sing them, preach them, hold them into wherever they're going next. So if you are a first-time visitor and you have never given to a church like Glide Memorial Church, I think you have already felt the power of what we do in this community. It is truly transformative. So we're going to ask you to please give. If you are a longtime member but haven't started giving yet, now is the time. Show up for Glide and make your giving a part of the way that you have shown up for Glide, in the ways that we have shown up for you. Let's make this an investment in this next phase of Glide. But mostly right now, please give, and give generously. Thank you all for participating in the celebration through your giving today. We appreciate you. We appreciate how you show up through your giving, and we hope that you will continue to give into this ministry and this community. Thank you so much. It is my privilege and my honor and my pleasure to introduce today's guest speaker, teacher, preacher, Glide's very own Rod Penalosa. And there's some Penalosas in the chat right now, I see. So we're so happy that Rod's friends and family are here today to be a part of this community. We hope that you will come back and be a part of our celebration again. I want to read Rod's bio for you right now. Dr. Rod Penalosa is Glide's clinical director. He envisions wellness as the caring for and healing of oneself, recognizing and acknowledging the intersectionality of aspects of our identities as individuals and as part of the human collective. He is a strong proponent of social justice advocacy that begins with self-responsibility. Born in Manila, Philippines, he immigrated to the United States with his family as an adolescent and settled in San Francisco. Rod says, as a Filipino American, my race has always been the most prominent marker of my identity, and I have to break the model minority stereotypes that entrenched me into stifling values and a mythical sense of self. It is a significant path of my life's work to learn, cultivate, and teach the essence of self-love, the quality of compassion for oneself that requires tending to the compartmentalized parts of our wounded, shamed, marginalized, silenced, dismissed, and oppressed self. It is in fostering the capacity of unconditionally acceptance, who we are, that strengthens the bridge of our interdependency and ability to be compassionate with others. Rod graduated from the University of San Francisco with a Master of Arts in Counseling Psychology and the California Institute of Integral Studies with a doctorate in East-West Psychology. His clinical and research interest is on healing intergenerational trauma. He has been practicing as a licensed psychotherapist in community mental health organizations for 14 years. He's a certified mindfulness and compassion teacher through the Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley. I bring to you right now our friend, Rod Penalosa.
Hello, my beloved Glide community. Thank you, Minister Marvin, for such a mouthful of beautiful, kind words. Thank you. It's really an honor to be here to share my truth and my compassion with all of you. I would like to invite you to, as for starters, to do a blessing ritual with me. And it's really just allowing our heart center to open up and be present and allow ourselves to receive all the healing, the love, and blessings that we definitely deserve in our life at this moment. By taking a couple of deep breaths in and allowing the breath to just go wherever it needs to go. Because the breath is a reminder, a sacred reminder that we are alive and we are all given another opportunity to breathe, to live, and to just be. And I would also invite all of us to express our gratitude coming from our hearts. Gratitude to all who have supported us in our journeys, particularly in our most vulnerable moments. Our beloved families, friends, our ancestors, whose shoulders we stand on, constantly lighting and illuminating the hearts, the lights of our hearts, to show us the way, particularly during the dark nights of the soul. And of course, expressing our endless gratitude to our divine God for always being with us, in us, around us. Kristen Neff is a proponent of unconditional compassion. And according to her, loving ourselves brings us to capacities of resilience, compassion, and understanding within, all of which are parts of our human existence. Now, my question is, how do we practice this very essential value of unconditional self-compassion, particularly for those of us who come from collectivist cultures? Cultures that greatly emphasize the importance of attending to the needs of the whole or the group, first and foremost, before the needs of the individual. What if our sense of self and self-worth can only be validated by the acceptance and approval of external factors, such as our social community, our family, and in my case, God? I was 13 years old when my family and I immigrated from the Philippines to the United States in search of equitable opportunities. The benchmark of success for many immigrants like myself is to thrive in this country and to earn the privilege of American citizenship. The journey towards achieving the American dream, however, comes with cultural values and belief structures, social, environmental, and political values that can really stifle and oppress our voices and visibility in this country. As Minister Marvin mentioned earlier, my race has always been the most prominent marker of my identity. And for an Asian American who came here as an adolescent, I was incessantly entrenched in the model minority myth. And these myths are stereotypes that perpetuate the characterization of all Asians as the ideal persons of color to emulate because of what others perceive to be our natural capacity to comply, obey, excel, and succeed. However, this is mythical, and this mythical belief is detrimental to our mental health and well-being because it takes away our rights to be included, counted, and supported, particularly in times of crisis, simply because of the assumptions that we are not susceptible to socioeconomic and psychological stress. What happens? What happens is many of us in the AAPI community suffer in silence because of the social stigma and shame that comes with help-seeking behaviors. I've been a mental health provider, a clinician for the last 14 years. And what really predicated that move towards entering this field was this goal or the idea that I had growing up that there's gotta be something more to life. You know, there's gotta be something deeper. There's gotta be something more meaningful. And in exploring those parts of myself that have been compartmentalized, the different parts of my identities, it really required me to pay attention to the pain and the suffering that came with my identity development, that came with my acculturation and assimilation as a Filipino in America, as an immigrant, that came with unpacking the pain of being a homosexual. And I realized that there's a lot of trauma to unpack. So what is trauma? Trauma is a psychological and physical response to a sudden disruption to our sense of safety. Trauma arises in situations when our nervous system becomes so overwhelmed that our basic usual coping mechanisms stop working. And when trauma is not processed or discharged successfully, it stays in the body. And it can be retriggered frequently and repeatedly by situations and by people. Intergenerational trauma then is historical trauma. Intergenerational trauma is the type of trauma that is passed on from generation to generation. Internalized and normalized values and beliefs that continue to perpetuate oppressive, stifling, pathologizing, and damaging impact on our sense of self and overall well-being. Looking at our cultures and how we understand our self-identities, the values and belief structures that we practice in our lives, passed on to us by our parents, our elders, our familial and ethnic ancestors, and how we apply them into our lives is really rich with stories of courage and strength, resiliency, survival. But without a doubt, these narratives that we have inherited and internalized to be our truth are also filled with trauma. What are some examples of this trauma? Scarcity mindset, victim mentality, power struggle, colonialism, and westernization of our indigenous ways, punitive religious ideologies, war trauma, slavery, colorism, and so many others. We carry into our wounded souls the impact of this generational, unreconciled, and unhealed trauma. And we bleed on others on the hope that someone will recognize our pain so we can heal and feel loved. How then do we begin to navigate ourselves in cultivating this level of awareness and inner work towards our mental well-being? We begin by recognizing within ourselves how certain pattern of thinking influence our behavior, our functioning, well-being, our relationships, and the quality of our lives. We have to learn how to normalize help-seeking behavior. Ask for help. It really is okay to ask for help. When I gave myself the permission to be vulnerable and sit with my pain, the pain began to listen to what I had to say. And in some cases, the pain began to communicate with me what I needed to know to heal myself, what I needed to recognize my power, and what I needed to love myself unconditionally. In one of my holy conversations with Minister Marvin, he asked, "Where is God in your life? Where is God in my life?" I immediately dove into that question, but I responded based on how I resonated with the meaning of this self-inquiry. How do I experience the presence of God in my life? God has always been with me. From my earliest recollection of learning about the divine God, God had always been on my mind. But rarely in my heart. The intersectionality of my culture, gender, sexuality, and religion as a Filipino-American immigrant Catholic man, gay man, has impacted my mental health in complex ways. I compartmentalized my faith and I lived with fear, shame, and guilt for decades because I didn't think that it was possible to claim my truth and be loved by God at the same time. Some might think that this is a simplistic, juvenile mindset. But for someone like myself and many others in this culture that is very social-centric or others-oriented, centralized in religiosity of Catholicism and strong family values, how do we even discern what is right for us versus what is right for the community as a whole? There is a Filipino word that I cherish and has become the foundation of my personal, spiritual, and professional life. This word is kapwa, spelled Kapwa. Kapwa is the core Filipino value that speaks about shared humanity, the common human and shared personhood in all of us. We are interdependent of one another. And I must love and honor myself so that I may understand and recognize how to honor and love you. The practice of shared humanity involves recognizing and accepting our connections with all human beings, even with those whom our human consciousness assumes are different from us, as well as completely accepting ourselves unconditionally, especially the parts of our identities that are in pain and suffering. One of my favorite authors is Lama Rod Owens, an African American author, social justice advocate, and Buddhist spiritual leader. And I want to quote him. He said that part of cultivating this foundational level of compassion begins with taking care of ourselves and recognizing our core wounds in order to tend to them and then be able to take responsibility for our lives. In this way, we are better equipped or resourced to extend compassion and care to others. To attempt to extend compassion without this step, when one is under-resourced, is dangerous and may very likely cause harm. So we have to take care in not skipping this very important initial step of honoring our pain first. During the course of my doctoral study, the dissertation process, I utilized journaling to really help me balance my life and my mental health. And I did an entry that I would love to share with all of you today. The journey towards finding our truth opens the chambers of our hearts and psyche to expose the most vulnerable parts of our humanity. When we commit to the sacred path towards loving ourselves and enter fully into it, this process turns into some kind of alchemy that transforms us, and we are never quite the same. When we devote and commit ourselves to something that we truly care about, we immerse ourselves in questions that are deeply important to us, close to us, and parts of us. This self-inquiry guides us into areas within ourselves that we may not have known before. The parts of ourselves that have been silenced, shamed, oppressed, conditioned to be invisible or insignificant, marginalized, and traumatized, sometimes gently, and other times in the most difficult ways that bring suffering in the most profound ways. My individuation as an Asian American, as a Filipino immigrant Catholic gay man in America, became the catalyst towards finding my voice, raising my visibility, and claiming my right to be included, heard, seen, and recognized. This sense of reconnection to my authentic self has become my healing and spiritual platform. Intimacy with oneself and in truly loving and accepting who we are in our totality, and loving the parts of ourselves that are the most difficult to accept, the most difficult to embrace and be with, we come to know a kind of mystery, the kind of power that is larger than our being, the kind of mystery and power that has always been with us, inside of us. We learn to rely on more than ourselves in the process. And through this, we come to know that we are sustained, that we do find the courage, we do find a voice, and we come to know that we have something creative, meaningful, and valuable to add to the world because you are worth it. I am worth it. We are all worth it. In searching for and eventually finding myself and my truth, I am perhaps starting to discover the freedom, the love, and intimacy that I have always longed for in others, but most especially in God. To end, I would love to invite all of you to a final prayer. If you can please join me in a very brief prayer that I have come to practice in my life. You may close your eyes or keep them open with your hands on your heart. And just once again, focus on the inflow and the outflow of the breath as it enters the sacred chambers of our human incarnation. And repeat the following words to yourself. May I have the strength and courage to show up every day in my most authentic ways. I am God's beloved, and I am enough. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rod, for sharing your wisdom, your practice, your spirituality, and for weaving an amazing story and sermon and teaching of intersectionality and healing in all the ways that we can bring ourselves back into wholeness. So thank you so much for being a part of this community and for sharing yourself with us. We're going to invite everyone now to come into Freedom Hall following this celebration. We have a virtual fellowship time. There's a link in the chat right now that will show you how to get there. Please join us again next week, same time, 9 and 11 a.m. for another celebration. And you are now free, to be the freedom that you have been searching for, and you are now free to be the healing that you have been searching for. We're going to close this celebration as sweetly as we opened it, and we will call it done. And we hope that you will take some of it with you wherever you go into the world this week, and know that we have generated enough for everyone. So take as much as you need this week, and we call it done. My name is Marvin K. White. I'm your minister of celebration. And now the one and only Vernon Bush will lead us out with our closing song.
And as we do here at Glide every Sunday, we close out our celebration with a word of hope and a word of justice. We shall overcome, not tomorrow, today. Won't you join us? Please join us and sing. Here we go. Here we go. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome today. free. We shall all be free. We shall all be free today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall all be free today. We shall overcome. Oh, we shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome, that we shall